Welcome to My Best Friend's an Engineer. I'm Libby.
I'm Lexi.
This is weird. We've never done this before.
I hate how my voice sounds, so this was a perfect idea to start. I can't wait.
I feel so bad for our listeners because I feel like, you guys are just going to have to stick along with us because right now we're just going to be bad at this.
We're going to be better. We
love
constructive criticism.
Yeah, leave a review and tell us how bad this is and how we can improve.
Perfect.
Okay, so we thought it would be good to just kind of do an intro, tell you guys who we are, because you guys have no idea who we are, I guess. Story of how we met. Do you want to tell it?
I suppose
Wait, does everybody know who we are?
They know who you are. They don't know who I am.
They know who you are. We've been telling them. I feel like when you're listening to a podcast, you don't know, like, who's talking.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah.
So this is Libby.
Okay, and this is Lexi.
Okay, now everybody knows. Story of how we met. You want to give it a go?
Of course. All right, so college. I'm a little freshman.
College?
Yep. We went to...
You're going to make me cry.
We went to Miami University in
I
Ohio.
miss college so much.
So I'm a little freshman coming in first year, had no idea what was going on. I had no idea that professional engineering fraternities existed. I had no idea business fraternities existed. I think those are a little more popular. So I'm, walking in on the quad and I see this little engineering fraternity. I said, okay, let me, look into that right after I walked by the boxing.
Let me ask you this. How did you find out about it?
I was walking.
Was it a flyer or something?
It was just like a really nice, board.
I don't remember how I found out about it. I think Julie.
Well, it was Julie.
Julie was a creep. And she will admit
Julie's going to listen to this and be like, are you kidding me?
She will admit this, so it's okay. But she reached out to me and she was like, you need to do this. And I was like, I don't know.
And she knew Julie from ice skating, though. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we'll get
We'll talk about Julie later.
Yeah, we'll talk about Julie later. So I'm walking on the quad and I see this little poster and I'm like, engineering fraternity. I'm like, first of all, I did not expect that. I didn't know business fraternities existed. And then apparently those were a big thing. So I was like, okay, why not? So I went to a few meetings, made it to the interviews. We can probably do like a whole different episode if people are interested about how
definitely
the interview process for an engineering fraternity is, because I had no idea, especially as a freshman.
For anyone who doesn't know, our engineering fraternity was invite only, so it's not like it's kind of like Rush for Greek life.
Which I feel like people like Alabama TikTok kind of They showed us how sorority Rush goes, but not
how it goes.
But yes, so I went to that. Made it, got a bid. So grateful. Thank you, Theta Tau.
Amen to Theta Tau.
So once you get into the fraternity, basically you go and you get a family. And honestly, I was very scared of Libby.
Shut up!
She was very intimidating, very fun, very bubbly, very loud. I said, oh my God, she's going to hate me. I talked to her once and I go, oh my God, she hates me.
No!
And so we talked a few times, not too much. I remember for if you are able to get a little, which she was because she's a year older.
We were talking in the mechanical lab.
Yes, in the mechanical. Never been there. I was like, oh my God, there's all these power tools. I was like, I'm so intimidated. I'm just a freshman. I literally got here 2 weeks ago.
That was it? I don't know. I think it was my sophomore year, right? And I feel like I was in a rush for some reason.
Oh, you were.
I feel we you had to do interviews to get your big, and so Lexi scheduled an interview with me, and I feel like for some reason I was in a rush. I don't remember why.
Which I totally remember because I had PCOS. I was like, oh my God, she hated me.
But I don't remember why.
I have no idea.
Okay, we did the talk.
So we did a talk. We sat in the little, mechanical. She showed me the power tool. She's like, oh, this is what this is. I was like, oh,
look at this wrench.
I was like, perfect. I was like, so, yeah. And so we're sitting there and she's like, okay, I got to go. And I was like, oh my God, she hated me. I was like, perfect. So I was like, okay, bye. I was like, I'm never going to talk to her again in my life. And then just in general, I think, Julie, I think the family was just so close that I was like, never getting in there. Just so scared.
We were so families were different ways. And I don't know how it is with different, it's Theta Tau. I don't know if we've said that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how different Theta Taus are at different schools, but we were very I was indoctrinated into a family that was very much we know who we want for a little, and that's just the way it was. And it was this is who we want. And this is who we got because we were a good family.
Yes. Exactly. So basically, fast forward, I put her as my number one, basically, but I was like, whatever, I'll just...
Why did you put me as your number one? I want to know.
Well, okay.
What made you do it?
I think Julie came in and stuck in, like, one day when we were out. She's like, you should put Libby.
Was
like,
she your, who was your mom? Or what were they called?
Oh, like the pledge moms?
Pledge moms.
I think Gianna.
But,
okay.
I don't, Steph was my pledge mom.
Very nice.
But I wasn't sure, because I remember Julie was it at one point. I wasn't sure if she was, okay, keep going.
Yeah, so I think Julie kind of slid in. She worked her magic, and she's like, you should put Libby. And I was like, oh my god, I have no chance. I was like, she probably wants someone, like, you want
I don't remember who I put. I literally don't.
Well, I hope it was me, so.
I think it was you.
But yeah, so basically before that whole thing, you know, where you had to like submit all your people, I think Julie slid in. She's like, just do it. I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Because for people who don't know, we did, I think it was you put your top 5 bigs and I put my top 5 littles. Yeah. And then they matched them up somehow.
So very similar to like sorority stuff, I think. So yeah, so that was when that happened. I don't even know when the reveal was. But I think also you came up to me before and you're like, oh, we got you.
Yeah, well, no, we saw you at the bar, I think.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my god, like, we weren't supposed to tell you, and we were like, you're a little.
And I was like, oh, hello, nice to meet you. And Christian was there too. Like, hello, met the whole family.
Well, that's why I feel like it was my freshman year for some reason.
No, definitely not.
Sophomore year? Maybe it was sophomore year. I don't remember. It had to be sophomore year.
It had to be
sophomore year.
But
anyway, that's how we met.
That's how we met, and then ever since then,
we
roommates. Yeah, literally roommates, and then.
And that was just it.
Yeah. So from this engineering fraternity that I didn't even know existed, met some of my closest friends. Because coming into freshman year, I just didn't really know a lot of engineers. So I think that was honestly one of the main reasons I stayed in engineering.
Well, right. That's what I tell people too.
I feel like a lot of the times it gets very overwhelming sometimes. You're just like, okay, my life could be a lot easier. And I'm not saying any other major is easier, but just, you know, in the moment, you know, you always think that.
You're like, my life is over. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Exactly. I'm like, okay. But, and I think, you know, I just was able to meet my closest friends. Obviously, like, we're starting a podcast right now, so clearly we've stayed friends after school, which is great.
I think it's going well.
I think so.
Our friendship is going well.
So, yeah, so that is...
Hopefully we'll be other besties.
Yeah. I'm excited for this, though. I don't know. Personally, would have never thought I would have done this. Again, every time I do a recording, I feel like I hate my voice, and I'm like, okay, let me just talk for an hour.
Well, look, I feel like we're going to look back on this and be like, dang. No, I think that was good. And that's like another thing. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice. People are always like, oh, what should I do? I'm a freshman. I'm like, literally join Theta Tau. Yeah. Or like join some sort of, it doesn't even have to be Theta Tau, SWE, or like Engineers Without Borders, or what's the race car one? There's a race car one.
I think it's specific to schools. So ours like Miami University Racing.
Something like that.
I think every school has that.
Literally any organization, join it, because you will find people that you like in it, hopefully.
Yeah, and similar interests. I think that just really helps. I mean, they know what you're going through. They're experiencing the same thing.
And it's different than like any other organization, because you can like join like, I don't know, a volunteering organization. Like, I know I was doing, freshman year, I did this thing called OMA. I don't remember what it stands for, but it was like, we went to this local, old people home, and we like did arts and crafts with them, and it was super cute, but like, what is that? Like, I don't know, it was giving back to the community, but you know, like, those people had no idea, like, none of them were engineers, and like, you just don't get it. So I guess that could be a good segue into what we majored in.
Yes.
We said we both went to Miami, obviously. That's how we met.
Not the nice weather one. We went
not
to
the
Ohio.
nice weather.
But it's okay, we still had fun.
The first time I came back for break, somebody saw me at the grocery store, and they were like, "Why aren't you tan?" And I was like, "Cause I go to school in Ohio. Like I don't go to school in Florida." And they're like, "What? Why is it called Miami in Ohio?" I was like, "I don't know."
I think it was made before Miami.
It was.
Yeah,
we have T-shirts.
Really?
My dad has a T-shirt. I bought him a T-shirt. Remember?
Really.
But you want to take it away with what you majored in?
Yes. So I did chemical engineering, and I have a biochemical concentration. In school, I was involved in Theta Tau, obviously, with sorority and research as well, and honestly, probably some random organizations, but those were kind of the ones that stuck with me the most.
Research took your whole life.
Yeah, research did take up my whole life.
You were like, you would come home and I'd be like, where have you been?
It's like 2 a.m. We're working with bioreactors. So it was focused on metabolic engineering. So you're working with cells, So basically, cells have their own lives. So,
They're
sometimes...
partying. Having their own lives.
I come home, I'm like, oh my god, the bioreactor.
You're like, oh, you've just been in the lab for 12 hours. Okay. That's great.
All right, Libby.
Okay, I majored in mechanical. I think people are going to be like, why did you guys choose what you majored in? You know what? I just kind of threw a dart at the wall, and I was like, I'm just going to stick with it. And I know that's terrible, because people are going to be like, give us your advice. I have no advice, okay? I just did it randomly. Decided to major in mechanical engineering. In school, I was involved in Theta Tau, obviously the professional engineering fraternity, but also a sorority, and then I think that's it.
Ice skating.
Ice skating.
I knew Julie,
Ice skating. I was a D1 athlete freshman year. Shout out to my synchro skaters. I couldn't do it though. Y'all are tough snails. I congratulate you for that, but I couldn't do it. Freshman year I did it. I was literally sleeping in my classes because that's a whole nother story. We can do a whole nother episode on being an athlete in college. But I just didn't have the grits to do it. Freshman year was rough with the grades. And I was like, I got to cut one of these out. And I decided to cut skating out. So from then on out, it was full speed ahead with the engineering and the sorority, which my sorority got kicked off.
We'll get into that later, that one.
We can talk about that later. Yeah. And then obviously Theta Tau, which was my angel in disguise, my knight in shining armor, the way I survived college. And somehow we both graduated.
Yeah, honestly.
We both got a degree.
Yeah, every time, freshman year, maybe we can go into why I did engineering. So I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field. So whether that was medical school or, biomedical engineering is what I started in. I thought it was better to do a chemical engineering degree because with biomedical or bioengineering, you kind of need a master's, which we can go into.
That's a whole other thing.
Yes, exactly.
And that sucks that you need but yeah. Anyway.
So I decided to do chemical engineering. Again, I think my research kind of helped me decide on that and decide that path. And then
when did you start research again?
My sophomore year.
Sophomore year, okay.
So did that for 3 years. And then I think, there were just so many opportunities with chemical engineering, so many different ways you could go, which again, that's completely different episode. Mm-hmm. But, what were we talking about?
Which is good. That's good that we have so many ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't worry, we have
so hopefully you guys don't eat this one too much, and then we can keep talking. But yeah, so what were we talking about before?
Should we move into industries that we work in now?
Yeah,
because we both graduated. Yeah. We both got jobs somehow.
Oh, back on that. Literally freshman year, sophomore year, even junior year, I'm like, it just did not seem real that I was actually decided to be an engineer. I was like, honestly, if senior year could have,
it was a fever
looked
dream.
At me. Yeah, I was like, dream. We all, many people want to be engineers. I was like, I'll just do it. We'll see. And you know what? The whole time I was like, it's just not real. That kind of sounds dramatic, but I'm just like, I can't believe I actually was like, I just did it. I was like, okay, now I'm an engineer. It's like, I don't know, I feel like in the beginning, everyone just, talks down on it. It's so boring, but...
Well, engineering, and I feel like, I don't know, I went to high school in the middle of rural Bumpkin, Wisconsin. My high school is literally called Bigfoot High School. In high school, everybody was like... Granted, you gotta take that with a grain of salt because everyone went on to be farmers, which is good. Not bashing farmers, but a lot of people didn't go to college. But everybody I remember was like, oh, being a doctor is gonna be so hard, engineering so hard. And so I just didn't have any other experience besides that. I was so sheltered. And then going to college, it was you think that engineering is obviously it is so hard, but you're like, I'm never gonna survive. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're a senior.
Yeah, I think you just go through the steps a lot. I think that's maybe what happened. You just do it and you're like,
keep
okay.
Going.
Yeah. You just kind of...
And then all of a sudden you're a sophomore and you're like, I might as well just keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're a junior. Yeah. And you're like, I'm too deep in this.
Yeah, I don't have money to do it again.
And then you're a senior and you're like, well, I can't change my major now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we graduated.
Yes, that was good.
We got jobs. We both got jobs. I graduated in 2019. Should I just say what I do now?
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about your co-op as
interest
well.
Into
that was kind of...
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. So, in college, junior year, I got a co-op. I went through the whole thing of applying to hundreds of companies, wasn't hearing back, was feeling so discouraged because being in Theta Tau, I feel like we both had this experience where everybody was really competitive.
Definitely.
So it was you know, a lot of people were getting internships like summer after sophomore year going into junior year. And I feel like if you didn't have an internship, like I was like, I suck. I was like, why don't I have a work experience? Freaking out. My mom's like, calm down. You're fine. I'm like, I'm not fine. I'm not going to get a job. And so I'm like applying. Didn't get anything for summer of sophomore year going into junior. Ended up getting something first semester junior year. And it was a co-op for second semester junior year. And I remember being like, obviously so excited because it's like work experience, but also kind of being bummed because I'm like, I'm going to feel so left out. Like, you know, I'm not going to be at school. Everybody's going to be having fun. I'm not going to be there. But I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I just remember telling myself, like, future me is going to thank me. Future me is going to thank me. And I did. Like, good. Looking back on it, I'm like, thank goodness. So I did the co-op, missed second semester junior year to do the co-op. You know, came back to school, did senior year like normal, and then after senior year I had a summer internship, and then so that was great, you know, like 9 months of work experience. So then I did an extra semester, graduated in winter of 2019. I started applying to jobs like in August, which we can do a whole nother episode about applying to jobs. Literally, a whole nother career advice episode. But started applying in August. I think I got my job like in September, and it was back home.
Yeah, it was very early.
It was really early.
I was like, you're set.
And I was like, I'm accepting this.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I'm done. Like, I don't have to worry about anything else. And so I accept the job. It's in Milwaukee, which is great because I live in Wisconsin. And I want to stay close to home. And now I work in the power generation industry. I'm a project manager, which I think we can do a whole nother episode about like all the things you can do with engineering, because I didn't even know that like project management was something you could even do. Like, I don't know. I thought when you were applying jobs post-grad, it had to just say engineer.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't know that there were like quality people and manufacturing people, well, mechanical, you know, how it relates to mechanical. Like I didn't know there were all these people involved. So get a project management position. And, you know, we can do a whole nother episode on jobs and, like, how we got our own jobs. Because I actually applied to be parts engineer. The company called me back, and they were like, we don't want you to be a parts engineer. We want you to be a project manager. Get the project management job. And that's what I've been doing ever since. Actually, yesterday marked 2 years.
Nice.
At the company.
Congratulations. Very exciting.
We'll see. Like, you know, maybe when we do our year recap, who knows if I'll still be there. Hopefully I am. I really like my job. But, yeah, so in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Awesome. And what industry was it?
Power generation. So, okay, so this is like such a side tangent, but I went to this tanning salon one time, and this lady was like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm an engineer. And she was like, what's that? And I was like, what? You don't know? And then I was like, wow, I sound so naive. Like, obviously some people don't know what that is, but power generation, what I like to say, like, how I like to explain it is like power plants. So like when you turn your lights on, like the power plants are what is giving you the energy to turn the lights on in your house. That's like the most basic way I can describe it. So like I work on steam turbines, generators, valves, not too much gas turbines. Don't really do too much of that.
Oh my God, what a shame.
I know that's like the things that pollute the air. The steam turbines, you know, that's more what I'm working on. So yeah, that's in a nutshell my industry that I work in. You want to take it away?
Very exciting. Yes. So like I mentioned, I wanted to do something in the medical field. So I started bioengineering. Decided to go along with chemical engineering. So right now I do work in the medical device industry. So I work as a validation engineer. So basically that is making sure that our devices are compliant within FDA regulations and that they don't get recalled and we can sell them and they won't, you know, affect the patient and proper testing and requirements are met. So I like my job.
I feel like people don't know that exists.
I honestly didn't either. So I had an internship. So we can talk about my internships, I guess. Sophomore year, the summer after sophomore year, I interned at a cosmetic startup, actually, which was very cool.
Didn't we both were like, we're going to get cosmetics.
Yes.
We're
like you'll design the boxes.
We're like, we're going to work for L'Oreal.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, that's a fever dream. But,
maybe one day. We'll launch our own cosmetics company.
So I did, a startup, which was super interesting. Then the summer after, I went into big pharma. So very different, big company. Really liked that. And that's where I did do some validation there. So I kind of learned a lot. I mean, again, what Libby said, you don't know all these people are involved, especially, doing these internships. I think you really dive into that. So I learned a lot. I was like, wow.
Was that intimidating? Big pharma?
Oh, 100%.
Were you like, I'm scared?
Because you hear all this, negative connotation again.
Like in the news.
We won't get into that at all.
Right.
But, just coming into that, those stereotypes and just, being a little engineer, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
You're like, I'm here to help.
Yes. I'm like, what do you need help with? But, do you want cookies? Do you want coffee?
Yeah. You're like,
but, so that was definitely interesting. I mean, as an intern, you don't sign off on anything, but you are able to look at what goes into these validation projects. So that was just super intimidating in itself. But yeah, I really like the industry, wanted to stay in that. And I do the same thing, validation now.
And we can, I mean, I know people are probably going to have, especially if people are in high school listening to this, they're probably going to have questions about like how we got our jobs, like career advice, how to do resumes, how to apply to them. Like, we can do a whole nother episode.
Oh, we can do so many.
This is just
and this
high
is,
level.
I love doing internships or like
we love
applying
talking
jobs.
about it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so weird. Everyone hates it, but I'm like,
And like organizing your resume, and like, I remember when I first started applying to all this, I like made this whole like spreadsheet with like,
oh my God, the spreadsheets
and blues,
the fonts,
bold type, italic, about like all my like projects and experiences and side things, like how I could relate them to things on my resume, and like we can do a whole.
Yes.
We can maybe have like a career person on.
Yeah, that'd
and like
be fun.
give people advice. And then I think to wrap up this segment, we just want to talk about like why you need an engineering degree for our jobs, because I feel like, well, your title is validation engineer,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, so mine is, I think, more technical than yours.
Definitely.
So I think I maybe do more engineering, but I mean for yours, you need the engineering background for sure.
Well, that's like, I try to tell people, like, you need the engineering common sense. I like to say that. Like, you get your engineering degree so that when you're talking to people in the industry, because you're right, mine is way more like commercial. Like, I'm dealing more with customers, and like the best way to describe commercial is like the dollars and cents of things, like how much things cost, the terms you're going to do things under, and like in order to relate or like tell that to a customer, if you aren't like educated on the things you're working on, you just sound like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, and like who wants to buy something from someone that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So that was probably a whole thing to learn in itself on the job, like how to deal with the kind of like the business side.
I'm still.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I feel like that's something that they don't really tell you in school, is like how long it will take you to like adapt to your role.
Definitely.
Because
my gosh.
You go from being a top dog in school, being a senior in engineering, doing your senior
mm-hmm.
design, like, getting those grades in, like, all, and then all of a sudden you're like at the bottom of the totem pole, and like nobody cares.
You don't know what bandwidth means. Oh my God.
You don't know what bandwidth means. You don't know what a deck is.
Yeah.
Build a deck. I've actually never had to build a deck.
Yeah,
but
I have not either. But
you know what I'm saying? Like,
that'd be a good skill, because if I did, though, I wouldn't.
I'd be showing up with a hammer and my nails. Where's the wood? I'm gonna build a deck for you. And they're like, no.
They're like, PowerPoint, please.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of wanted to go into the reason why we wanted to start the podcast. So, just straight up, we wanted to just have a platform where we could be transparent, vulnerable, and relatable about being a girl in a male-dominated field. I feel like all of us just kind of are like going through the motions, and sometimes we just like don't really know what's going on. And I think that's a big reason why both of us succeeded so well in engineering, is because we had like Theta Tau,
mm-hmm.
And like that support system. But if you don't have Theta Tau, it's like, well, what do you do?
Exactly. Yeah. One thing I want to say is, honestly, I learned so much about engineering in general and just how school works and like tips and advice just from literally our family.
Yeah.
Like I'm so grateful for that. And I was thinking back about these people who don't really have that organization or maybe that support system specifically throughout school. And honestly, kudos to you, because I don't know if I would have stayed in engineering if it wasn't for you guys. Honestly, that sounds dramatic and all cutesy, and we don't like that. But.
No, but seriously, I remember freshman year, I had a professor literally tell me. I remember going to him, and I made a TikTok about this, and people got so up in arms in the comments. And I went to this professor, and I was like, I have male group members, and they're not letting me use the power tools. And he was like, well, it's gonna be like this for the rest of your career. So if you don't like it, you should change majors. And I remember just being like, what? What do you mean? Like, I was coming to you for advice, and like,
yeah.
And if I feel like we wanted to start this podcast so we can kind of like be there for, those people who feel like they have nobody,
Definitely.
In the major.
Who's going through that. And I feel like, again, it's not really talked about in, by students of engineering schools, because everyone is super ambitious. Everyone wants to be perfect. Everyone's like, oh, look at what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing that I noticed as well. I'm like, how is everyone doing so well? And, seems like they don't have any issues going on right now. But we all do.
We all have issues.
This is what we're going to talk about.
And,
which is why it's so exciting.
And I feel like, too, like, another thing is, I remember I had this one professor. I don't even remember what the class was. But every time we took an exam, she would call off the people who got the highest grade in the class.
Yeah.
All the way to the lowest grade in the class.
And the lowest grade?
And the lowest grade. She wouldn't say,
God.
what the grade was, but she would, and the highest grade goes to this person.
Terrible.
And then, and that's how she would, pass out the exams back.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this one kid, and it was a guy, and he always was the first name to be called. And I remember after, I think the second exam, she was like, if you guys are the last names called, you should really be looking to this guy for a mentor. And it was like, oh my God.
I feel like I get what she was trying to do, motivate the people, but
that's so mean.
Yeah,
and
there's
so,
better ways to do that.
And so I feel like that, just sharing that story is just trying to say that, everybody in engineering can be so competitive, but the reality of it is that a lot of us are just struggling, and
we're just trying to figure it out.
We just don't know what we're doing. And so I think that that's where our podcast will come into play.
Definitely. Hopefully. I mean, that's our goal.
And
to help others.
And so exactly, that's our goal, to help others. We want to try to just normalize these feelings that you have while you're in engineering. Also pressure, I don't know about you, but I always felt I would always call my mom crying and be like, I didn't get an A. And she was like, you don't, just pass. And I was like, no, everybody else is getting A's. Yeah. I didn't get an A. We just want to, kind of, normalize how you don't have to put pressure on yourself.
And, one thing, I guess, going off of that, I just was so intimidated because I thought everyone thought I was dumb. Maybe that's just personal issue.
I think it is a girl thing, too.
I don't know. I mean,
I thought everybody thought I was dumb.
Yeah, and I just was I wanted to prove them that, I actually could, be an engineer. I could think about these things. I could learn these things. So that was one thing that I think kept messing myself up. I think just overthinking all these things, I walk in this room, they don't think I need, I should be here.
Well, and, you walk in with, I would walk in with the colorful pens and the pink hat, and I'm like, these guys think I'm stupid. But then it puts so much pressure on you, and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I need to be so smart, because I want to show them that I can be in the dog race and all this stuff, and it's okay, well,
definitely.
Let's make this podcast to show that they're just we can just all be normal, and that's okay.
Yeah. So specifically when we decided to, follow through with this podcast was actually at a winery.
A wine night. It's
a girl wine night. We were 2 glasses in. We're she's oh, let's start this podcast. And I was like, okay.
I think we said it at the same time.
Yeah.
I think we were both let's start a podcast. So aggressively.
And it's funny because I feel I'm so hesitant. I feel you are a veteran social media influencer.
Come on, come to the social media world.
And I feel I'm so hesitant. Again, I overthink. I feel I overthink things way too much. Again, with school, I'm oh my God, everyone cares what I'm doing in this class right now. No one cares.
Nobody cares.
No one's looking at me.
Nobody cares what you're doing.
You're sitting in the background anyway. No one even sees you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's how you feel, and that's how you feel in engineering, but that's also, I feel how people feel with anything they take on in life. I've had so many people, even just from Theta Tau, reach out to me and be like, oh my God, this is so cool that you guys are doing this.
I hope so. I can't wait.
But but it's at first we're people might think it's weird.
No, and I definitely, I feel I was just so hesitant. I think I think Libby really kept me accountable. She started posting that same night.
I was like, come on.
And I was like, and I see the story, and I was like, oh my god, she tagged me. I was like, oh my god, I have to do it.
Now you have to do it.
And I was like, well, you know what? You wanted to do this. This is what I was trying to tell myself. You wanted to do this. You wanted a side project. You want, you know.
And I feel like we could talk on this podcast a lot too about how just like people who major in engineering just have a certain personality of like always wanting to do things.
Yes,
you
definitely.
know, like I mean, I think it's different when we were in school because we always had like you had research or like we had like extracurricular things like recruitment or we had like homework. You always have things to be doing, and I feel like nobody really talks about what happens when you like all of a sudden have a job.
Yeah, and you transition from the
the crazy busy.
Yes.
The sleeping 4 hours a night to like all of a sudden you
just working 9 to 5.
Just working.
Well, technically 8 to 5.
Well, you work longer, but you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have multiple or in like multiple classes. You literally are just doing your one thing for your job over and over again every day.
Definitely. It's more exciting than that.
It's more exciting. But I feel like people who get engineering degrees have this certain level of like I wouldn't call it like productivity, but just like we always wanted to be doing something.
Definitely.
And like maybe ambition? Maybe
hyper-focusing it?
Hyper-focus? Like it's something where that's why I feel like this podcast would be great for us to just like have this other outlet where we can like share experiences and like you don't have to be in engineering. You can listen in and just like hopefully you like us.
Yeah. Hopefully it's relatable.
Hopefully we're funny.
And then we're gonna post this on Mondays,
oh,
I think.
Beloved Mondays.
So you want to go into why, maybe?
So, like we've been talking about, we're both in Theta Tau, and on Mondays we had chapter, and so for anyone who doesn't know, chapter was basically a time where everybody in the organization got together. We did this whole like ritual. I think.
Oh, we can talk about it.
Did we say like? I don't think we're allowed to talk about it.
We'll talk about it later, maybe.
It was like secretive. We can't talk about it.
We'll reconvene with the elders.
we like would get together. I'll just say that generally we got together with all the members and we like went over an agenda and like things we wanted to do because Theta Tau had 3 pillars: brotherhood, professional development. What was the third one? What was the third one?
Professional
brotherhood, professional development.
What was it like?
Volunteer. It wasn't volunteering though.
No, it was like
brotherhood. Oh my god.
Cut
all right, we'll just pretend like we know what we're talking about. Anyway, so we like our agenda would like focus around those 3 things.
Yeah.
Philanthropy.
There we go. Oh, we are terrible people.
The Theta Tau lords are gonna come for us. But okay, so anyway, our chapter would be about those 2 things. Habitat for Humanity was our philanthropy, so we talk about like builds and like brotherhood. Would be getting together for like. On the weekends, we would do cookouts and stuff like that. So anyway, all that to say that like basically we just talked about that stuff on Mondays. So
Monday nights, 8:15 to be exact.
Monday
Get there at
nights.
8 a.m. or 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Sometimes we were in the building for 12 hours.
We were there for the whole day.
But
it just like holds a special place in our hearts. So
yeah.
we're hoping that like Mondays, you guys can listen into this podcast. If you're still in school, hopefully it'll give you motivation to keep going. Don't stop. Don't change your major. You got this.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. And if you're in your career, or even if you're in high school, no matter where you are, hopefully it just like gives you the motivation to like keep going.
Definitely.
Okay, so next we kind of want to talk about our goals and visions for the podcast. I think we can kind of structure this as we can each talk about like our own goals for the podcast, like as a collective, like as the greater podcast, and then we can talk about like our own personal goals for 2021. It is the new year.
It's 2022.
Oh my god, it's 2022. Oh my god. All right, whatever. We'll just roll with 2022, baby. Okay, so goals. I'll just start first.
Yeah.
And then I'll do my goals. I'll start with just the podcast. So okay. I think for 2022, we want to try to bring on a lot of fun guests and like faces that maybe you guys listening have seen in social media. I've noticed that like there's a really big rise in like people posting on Instagram and TikTok on like STEM related things or just like engineering or anything or like construction women, all the categories.
All the shebang
people are posting about. So I think it'd be really cool if we like brought people on, tried to share other people's stories. I think like, my opinion, I think the greatest thing for this podcast would be just spread the word about women in STEM,
Definitely.
or just like women in male-dominated fields.
Yeah,
Like,
and bring in those different experiences as well.
bring in all those experiences. Let everybody listen. Hopefully, you know, it can be helpful not only for like people in college or people in their careers, but like people in high school
For
who like,
sure.
because I didn't know what
I
engineering
had
was.
no idea.
No idea.
My parents are not in the engineering field,
Same.
you know, and it was just a lot. So, like, you know of it.
You
but
know what
you
it,
don't know
you
what
kinda,
it entails.
You kind of know what it is, but you don't know what it is
until you actually do it.
Until you're actually doing it.
You know, even if my parents were in the engineering field, it would be the same story. But at least we would have gotten like a little bit of insight before.
So I think that like the more people we can bring on, the more experiences we can share, the better. And that's not just like engineering. Like I think it'd be great if we could find like a variety of women to bring in. You know, people in the medical field, people in law, accounting, you know, anybody in male dominated fields. I think like it would just be great to have, you know, just this place, this community of women where people could come and listen to their stories. And you want to take it away with your big ideas for the podcast?
Yeah, I think it would be so fun to get our friends from college.
Oh, definitely.
I think maybe specifically just talking about Theta Tau as well, so you get some different insight, and then also maybe people from different schools that did engineering there to kind of to kind of compare like how that was different,
or like different people from different Theta Tau chapters.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
do a whole episode about Theta Tau.
Yeah, that would be.
They should be paying
Theta
us.
Tau tell all.
We're just Theta Tau tell all. We're just out here promoting Theta Tau.
How about you? Any additional ideas?
I think just like personally, my personal goals for this podcast, I'm gonna shoot lofty here. 50,000 downloads. You know, we're all about numbers here in engineering. I think it'd be really cool if we just, you know, spread the word, you know, created this platform for people to come to relate to our stories, relate to other people's stories, not feel alone, and I think it'll just be fun. It'll be like cool for us to look back on too, like to like document our journey as people throughout 2022 and like all the things we've accomplished. Hopefully we can do an episode at the end of the year looking back on like what we did accomplish in the podcast, and you know, hopefully we accomplished something. Yeah. What about you? Personal goals.
I think my main goal is to be more comfortable on social media in general. I think you were a big part of pushing me to do this, which I'm very grateful for.
I'm pushing you to the edge.
You know, and I'm very grateful for that. I feel like I overthink, you know, a lot of things in general. I think, you know, one of the main things, I was just hesitant. I was like, what are people going to think? Like, oh my God, people are going to see this and be like, oh, she can't speak on this. Or
I feel like that's with anything, too.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that is one of my main goals, to get more comfortable in that and just, you know, not to care that much anymore. Obviously, care a little bit about what you post, but I think, you know, that is one of my main goals.
At the end of the day,
it's not quantitative, but you know, we don't have to be.
No, but like quality, yeah. Like at the end of the day, like nobody cares as much about what you're doing as you do, and like
definitely,
I think that's something that we just want to both kind of work towards in the podcast, and hopefully that helps. You know, we were both saying how like hopefully that helps like when we were in high school, our high school selves. We want to create like that environment for our high school selves, like people that we needed to look up to, but who weren't there at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Hopefully we can give back in that way.
Hopefully.
All right. I think with that, we just want to close it out and say thank you guys for listening. We don't know how this is going to go.
We don't know if you're going to like it.
Maybe you'll hate it.
We hope you like it, though.
We hope you like it. Yeah, I think we're excited for 2022 and like what this will bring, and like hopefully we can just like build a community of people listen to the pod, and who knows what opportunities are out there and like what we're going to be doing with this, but I think we got some big ideas.
Definitely let us know your thoughts.
Make sure to give us a rating. Maybe it's 5 stars. Maybe you think we did a great job. Maybe you thought we did not do a good job.
We don't discriminate. We want it all. We want all of the feedback.
We want the constructive criticism. Maybe we got a 1 star. I don't know. Let us know. Give us a rating and review. I think we're really excited to give back to the community, and at the end of the year, we want to do some sort of a giveaway. So if you guys leave a rating and a review, you screenshot it and you DM it to our Instagram at My Best Friends in Engineer, you'll be entered in a giveaway. Still debating on what to give away.
That's TBD.
It's TBD. Maybe you need steel-toed boots.
Maybe you don't.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you need goggles.
Maybe you need an Apple Watch.
Maybe you need an Apple Watch. Let us know in the DMs. We'd love to hear your guys' opinions on what we could give away, but we definitely want to do some sort of giveaway at the end of the year. So hopefully that can give you an incentive to leave a rating and review. And again, just screenshot it and send it to @mybestfriendsandengineer, and you will be entered.
Definitely. And make sure to share the podcast with your friends. Mention it on your stories. If you have any engineering roommates, even STEM roommates, I hope that they would be interested in learning about it.
Hopefully they'll like it.
I hope so.
I would love to like create this little like community of people all throughout colleges of women listening to our podcast, or anybody listening to our podcast, and you know, coworkers. If you have coworkers that you think would like this, definitely share it with them. Hopefully this will be a good thing to listen to work on Mondays.
Yeah.
Or probably Tuesdays. Mondays?
I don't know.
Who knows when we'll release it on Mondays. Hopefully you just listen to it. But please spread the word. We're so excited to create this space for other like-minded women. I feel like if it weren't for Theta Tau, we wouldn't have found people. Well, we wouldn't have found each other.
Yeah, definitely not.
But we wouldn't have found people that like have very similar personalities to us. I feel like engineers just are built different. You know?
Yeah, it's nice to have that support system of people who understand, you know, what you're going through and kind of can help.
And people like who have done it before, especially if you are thinking about majoring in engineering or like some sort of a male-dominated field. Hopefully we can be like a good resource for you if you listen to our podcast. So I think with that, be sure to follow our Instagram and TikTok. It's @mybestfriendsandengineer. And then if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully you follow us. Otherwise, follow us on YouTube. It's @BFE Podcast, Best Friends Engineer Podcast. BFE Podcast on YouTube for more updates. Should we do personal socials?
I think so. Personal Instagram, mine is, and TikTok is Engineer Lexi.
And
very
then,
easy.
Very easy. My Instagram and TikTok is @Libby Beyond the Label. So yeah, just be sure to follow us. Hopefully you can keep up with us. I'm sure we'll have so many updates. It's just gonna be exciting to see like how we change throughout the year, how our audience changes throughout the year, how our social media change. Like, it's just gonna be so cool to like, it's gonna be just like a personal diary. I feel like this
we're at the
podcast.
beginning right now, so
we're at the beginning. Hopefully we improve.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we.
Hopefully we improve. I think this one wasn't too bad.
We were so nervous.
We were nervous. I think,
but
like,
it's exciting.
Looking back, we're gonna be like, that was so bad.
Yeah, maybe, but maybe we won't.
Maybe we'll be like, that was so good. I should
maybe we won't
be
listen.
not as pessimistic.
Maybe we won't listen again.
Well,
but
all right, you guys, catch us on the next episode. We will be posting these weekly on Mondays, and I hope wherever you are having a fantastic day or night. And with that, sayonara.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Signing off. Oh wait, should we say like thanks for listening to My Best Friend's Engineer?
Simultaneously.
Simultaneously. Okay.
Ready? Wait, 1, 2, 3.
Thanks for listening to My Best Friend's Engineer.